It doesn't feel like Star Wars without lightsabers. I've already forgotten half of them, so. This is like the perfect shirt for this video. I'm impressed with myself. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. If you've stuck with me this long, thanks! Unexpected, and also, thank you. This video was supposed to be filmed like 2 weeks ago, and instead I started writing a manuscript of mine, and I literally could not do anything else but write it. So this kind of got sidetracked, but a few days ago I finished that manuscript, and so we are back on track with Rogue One. I've seen this movie 3 times, once in theaters, once with Dan, and then this rewatch here. And I gotta say, still not a fan. Still not a fan. I have to admit, every time I watch this movie, I do like it more, but I think it's honestly because I can remember the characters more. Because man, are these throwaway characters. I also watched it with subtitles this time so that I could actually learn all the characters' names, so that was super exciting. But on the whole, I don't like this movie, and it's for 2 reasons. One, as I said, I just don't like the characters. They're bland, I don't care about them. I'm going to talk specifically about Chirrut, who is the blind Not-A-Jedi man, in a little bit. But on the whole, I just don't care about the characters. And number 2, I'm just going to say it. It doesn't feel like Star Wars without lightsabers. Which is why the epic last 3 minutes or so of this movie is probably one of my top 5 favorite Star Wars moments in the entire series of all the movies. It's amazing. But before those last 3 minutes, man, it's a little bit of a struggle. So let's get into it. Blanket statement before I start. I know there were a lot of reshoots with this movie, which is why, like, half the trailer is a lie. So I get it. But this is what we ended up with on screen, so this is what I'm gonna rant about. The first thing I want to talk about is one particular character, and then we're gonna get into more plot holes, WTF moments, and then move into the positives. So let's talk not about the main character of this movie, Jyn Erso. Let's talk about Chirrut, the blind Not-A-Jedi. If you didn't know his name was Chirrut, put on those subtitles and you can learn everyone's name. I've already forgotten half of them, so. Look, I love Chirrut. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced though. I love him, but they did him a huge disservice by not making him actually Force sensitive. He claims, yes, I'm one with the Force is with me, blah, blah, blah. He believes, but I don't believe him. His fight scenes are ridiculous, and I think it's because they don't give the audience enough to go on. Let's take Avatar: The Last Airbender, just as an example. There is a blind earthbender named Toph in the Avatar: Last Airbender universe, and she's amazing. But they show you how she's able to do these things. They have multiple scenes showing you how she's able to earthbend, even though she's blind. And they don't do the same for Chirrut. He needs to actually be Force sensitive for it to work for me, and he's not, so it doesn't work. And they even make fun of it, saying he's just a dreamer. And I get it. The Force is a myth at this point. The Jedi are disbanded and in hiding. The Sith are only showing their powers to their direct subordinates. I get why no one believes in the Force right now. But if Chirrut does, then he needs to be Force sensitive. I just wish that they had given this guy more of a role and a look into his senses and his life. I wish we saw him use the Force. That's it. That's all I need. Use the Force once, even if it's just something so simple and small, like levitating his staff or his staff inches like a little closer to him. I don't care. If he uses it once, then I believe he's using the Force to fight and senses these things and that he is Force sensitive. But they make it seem like it's impossible for anyone to be Force sensitive in this movie except Vader. And I don't like that they almost have someone pretending to be Force sensitive. It doesn't work for me, man. His death is along the same lines. I don't like it. I want him to be using the Force. Just use the Force, man. I don't like it coming off as a religion, even though I know it's called that in the OG trilogy. But in my opinion, he should be Force sensitive and maybe in his death scene, like slightly dodging the lasers or something. I don't know. I just don't believe him. I don't believe his character. I want to, but I don't. And you know, while we're on the subject of Chirrut, he's also beating stormtroopers with a staff. We're back on Endor, everyone. Stormtroopers, you have guns. It honestly outrages me watching these movies sometimes how easily the stormtroopers go down. Like, you have armor. What is your armor for? What is it made out of? I don't understand. Okay, let's get into some plot holes. Number 1, why are there no K2SOs in the original trilogy? Leia is already 16 at the end of this movie. Were they all on Scarif and died with the planet? All of them? Every single one? Number 2, Cassian and everyone, when they get on Jedha, are all taken prisoner except Jyn, so she can talk to Saw. And when the planet starts exploding, Cassian and everyone get out of their cells so easily. And speaking of Jedha, why does Saw have to stay on Jedha as it's being destroyed? I'm getting super Titanic vibes, like Captain going down with his ship. Like, no, bro, we're in a rebellion. You might be useful later. Like, maybe you could have corroborated Jyn's story and everyone would have actually believed her instead of being wimps. Okay, since we're here, I need to talk about the rebellion on Scarif, which is a complete and utter mess. Like I said, I know there were a ton of reshoots, and I'm not 100% sure what they had to reshoot. I don't know if there was a different ending, but this is what we got, and this, like I said, is what I'm going to rant about. Okay, so Jyn gives her little speech, and I'm on board for the ragtag team. It's very nice, touching scene. I'll give the movie that. But I honestly can't believe the rest of the rebellion is saying no to this mission. So just to clarify some things for anyone who doesn't remember, because I didn't remember all of these little pieces of the puzzle. Let me see if I can remember this. Jyn's dad, Galen Erso, created a trap, a weakness in the Death Star that we all know from Episode 4, The New Hope. He takes a pilot, an Imperial pilot, and this Imperial pilot has switched sides, and he needs to get this message from Galen Erso to Saul, ergo to the rebellion. The rebellion uses Jyn. They take her and say, we need you to get us an audience with Saul because he helped you grow up, etc., so that we can get that message from Galen Erso about the flaw in the Death Star. I think I got that right. I hope I did. So Jyn gets the message. She and Saw are the only two that see this message, and Saw decides he's going to go down with his ship, his Jedha planet, and dies. So Jyn is the only person now who has seen this message. She goes back to the rebellion and says, hey guys, my dad left a trap in there. We need to get those blueprints. And no one wants to do it. The rebellion, doesn't want to rebel. What else are you going to do right now? What else is there to do? They all just literally give up and say, it's hopeless, screw this, bye. And I don't get it. They sought out Jyn to get the message from her dad, and now they don't believe her about the message that she saw? Everyone in this rebellion, what are you doing? And now you don't want to fight until Jin and her little ragtag crew go rogue, title, and now the rebels are gonna go help. Like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? You were legit just gonna sit there and do nothing? Okay, now let's move on to the actual plan. Once they're on Scarif, Scarif puts its shields up. And they're like, oh dip, okay, we can't get off Scarif. So what we have to do is transmit the blueprints up to people, to the rebellion that I guess they know is there at this point. But to transmit it, we have to get the shields down. Is that not the same plan as before? To get the blueprints and fly up through the shields and get off Jeddah? Why is the plan to just not get the shields down and then fly the hell out of there? If the shield's open, we can send the plans. Dude, if the shields are open, you can run away and get the F out of there. I don't get it. Am I missing something? Someone tell me. I swear I rewatched this scene. I had to rewatch a lot of scenes in this movie because I thought I wasn't getting it. So maybe I'm not getting it, but I shouldn't have to rewatch scenes 5 times to understand what is going on. I feel like everything I just ranted about was confusing, but I'm confused. But this ending before the hallway scene, it is really funny when you think about it. We, as audience members, know what the plans say and what the plans are. We know there's a flaw in the blueprints. We know that the Death Star can be destroyed, but no one else does. Suddenly, everyone believes Jin's story because they have the plans. But you don't know what the plans say until you read them, and they could just be regular blueprints with no trap set in them. I guess no one thought of that. Okay, now that we've talked about this thing as a gigantic, messy confusion, let's get into a couple of more random things before I get to the positives. So, why does Scarif have so many bad guy things at their disposal? Like, were they expecting an attack on Scarif? I mean, they're on the defense, right? Like, why do they have AT-ATs there? Next, I think his name's Bozy. It's Chirrut's buddy. When he goes out there after Chirrut has died, his line is saying, I'm one with the Force is with me, like he's kind of passing it on. And I know it's meant to be more like, for his dead bestie, I love you, I miss you, I'll believe you. But it kind of seems hokey and ridiculous when I think about it, and when I watch it, especially because he dies. How is the Force with him? Just kind of makes the Force look like a bunch of BS. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is everyone died by grenade except Jin and Cassian. Every single other person, not including K2SO, he's not a person, everyone died by grenade. Maybe if the stormtroopers used some more grenades in the OG trilogy, they'd suck a little less, since their aim with a gun is obviously terrible. And the last thing I want to say is the antenna alignment. Jin gets the transmission, she puts it in a little transmitter thing, and a message comes up that says, antenna must be realigned, or whatever. Like, of course it does. Man. Plot just for plot's sake. Am I right? Alright, let's wrap up with some positives, because there are some positives in this movie. Number 1, I didn't remember that Krusik, who is the guy in white that Vader force chokes, and I think the Death Star was like his idea or something, but he got killed by his own weapon. That was a funny little sight to see, my people. I appreciate you. The other thing is, I appreciate that there's no love story in this movie at all. I always appreciate movies that can pull that off. I was really afraid that Cassian and Jin at the end were like gonna have a little kiss, but they left it as it was. And I was very happy about that. I always find it interesting, and I always respect actually a movie more when there is no love story and they can pull that off. Taken 1 is another movie that's like that. I think Taken 2 or 3, he tries to get back together with his wife. But the first Taken is literally just about Liam Neeson trying to find and save his daughter. So anytime there's a movie without romantic love in it, I always appreciate that. And last, but definitely not least, definitely top right here, the Vader hallway scene. I can forgive almost everything in this movie because of that scene. That is how powerful it is. Now I demand that you go to search on YouTube and watch the Vader hallway scene, because damn. It's the Anakin Skywalker we love. The first time we see Vader, his lightsaber battle with Obi-Wan in New Hope is just, I mean, it's fine, but then you go back to the prequels and you see, the last time you see Anakin with a lightsaber, it's during Anakin versus Obi-Wan, which is my favorite lightsaber battle of all time. And it's amazing. And then the next time you see Anakin with the lightsaber, it's against Obi-Wan in New Hope. And you're like, wait, what? What happened? So I was so happy to finally see Vader be a total badass. It was awesome. Alright guys, that is all I've got on Rogue One. So thanks for watching. I've already finished the entire OG trilogy and Force Awakens. I'm currently muddling very slowly through Last Jedi, but I will have videos up for New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. You know, obviously the OG trilogy is great and amazing and fantastic, and I love them, and those videos will probably be much shorter than these past videos that I have put out, because there's just not as many plot holes. They're just goddamn near perfect. So, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.